All right, time in as usual. These will be the people news. Okay. Again, and I'm not an attorney, so I'm not giving legal advice. This is just educational purposes only. Okay. Anything I say or do is just my opinion. No more, no less. Do your own research, people. All right. Never look straight forward. Always look around you. Be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. So, when we first go to court, we need to know truly what the first process they try to put you under. Okay? And you had to have basic knowledge of what they are doing to you. Okay? Which enhance this video here. Okay? So, let's proceed forward.
In our motion to dismiss, first of all, the charging documents, the information states the city of St. George, right? That's the plaintiff. So, I made this joke with Heather last week. Apparently, she must be Superwoman, and that whatever she did, she caused damage to the entire city of St. George, allegedly. So, when you see this right here, when you see city of, county of, or state of, and it doesn't matter if it's in all caps or not, that's irrelevant. When you see it start with the city of or state of, you know they are prosecuting you administratively. Mm-hmm. You know that. Because if this were truly a criminal court and one where she was being tried in an Article 3 court, this would say the people of Utah. Mm-hmm. Or the people of whatever state. The people versus so-and-so. Yes.
What is the difference between the administrative and the other court, and why should someone be concerned?
Well, jeez. Brandon, do you want to take that one, or do you want me to?
In a nutshell, there's lots of new people coming into this movement.
Right, that's a good question, because that's one I found myself asking almost right away, because everyone kept talking about Article 1 courts and Article 3 courts as if I knew what that meant.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, it's just let's simplify, right? To administrate something is to execute it. So it's running out of the executive branch, okay? So you're not going to have all the rights of due process. So when you step into an administrative court and you go, I've got rights, right? Well, yeah, you do, but they're not here because the court lacks subject matter jurisdiction to even hear those. So that's one thing out the way. And now you're in what's called code pleading. Louisiana allows fact pleading. I'm not sure about Utah, but you're in statute and code pleading, right? And so within that little framework, and most of us believe outside of the law and inside the law, that when you go into a courtroom that due process works, and we have a certain idea about it, but it's not the way it's running off of administrative rules, just like federal agencies do or state agencies. It's an executive branch. It's not you can't go in there and plead, your state constitutional rights. The court can't hear it.
Well, that was an interesting graphic there.
And again, this is my opinion for educational purpose because I'm not an attorney, right? You heard me in past videos, right? Justice delayed, justice denied, right? So this process right here is actually violating the due process. They're delaying the actual due process. And this is everybody, right? There's, like he said, the city of, county of, all that kind of stuff, right? They're delaying your actual due process. All right? Due process delayed is due process denied, people. So they really actually, when you go into this first court, they just denied you your actual due process. Again, that's my opinion. I'm not an attorney, so do not take it as legal advice. Educational purposes only.
James,
you like that?
It looked like you were walking off into a tunnel. So when a situation like this happens, and we know administrative, is also a cash cow.
Yep.
So when something like this happens, her best recourse is to sue them, right?
Well, yes and no.
In an Article 3 court? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get there. We're going to bring them into an Article 3 court, whether they want to be there or not.
Okay. I just want the viewers to understand if they find themselves in this situation, what their recourse is, and
Yes. Well,
how would you know what they're pulling the wool over your eyes?
Well, so
Yeah,
the first thing that everybody needs to do is first get the simple things down, right? It is much easier to get to sue after you've had the charges dropped. It's not saying that it is an absolute bar, right? It's not an absolute bar to go to an Article 3 court. It's just much easier once you defeat in this lower level court to turn around and then go into a civil matter where the rules of civil procedure actually apply. Especially even in your local courts, most people, they're not even operating by the state rules of criminal procedure or the state rules of civil procedure. They're running out of statute. They're running out of statute, and every state's got it. And I adjure everybody out there to go read your state's Administrative Procedure Act. My state started in 1964, and all the agencies that are operating out of that Administrative Procedure Act are limited by statute. But guess what they've done? They've broadened over the last 60 years to incorporate everybody and everything because it is they are revenue agents.
you guys search any one of your cities, counties, townships, villages, wherever it is you live. Just go out and do on a quick search on the website Dun and Bradstreet. Type in the name and see how much money they bring in each year. It'll make you sick. And it talks about they have sales in excess of such and such. I said, well, what in the crap is this city selling? Because I'm not buying anything from them. Mm-hmm. They're not. They have taken every single one of us as the sovereign men and women that we are, and has made us believe that we are creatures of the state. Mm-hmm. Oh, you have rights. Oh, yeah, you have a right to an attorney. You have a right to a trial. You have a right to this stuff. Like they pulled it, but they don't tell you that that's a let's call it a simulation of a legal process, because that's what it is. It really is. But it is completely devoid of everything that court needs. And Brandon hit the nail on the head. He said the minute you walk into that court lacks subject matter jurisdiction to hear anything about we the people. So, Justice, you brought up the question, well, what do people do? Well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to file a motion to dismiss. Right. You're going to point out the deficiencies. You're going to talk about how the court does not have subject matter jurisdiction. And you're going to claim, again, if I'm making this claim, right, when I say here, Heather McWegan, the alleged defendant and one of the sovereign people of Utah, who's going to come in and tell me or tell her that she's not one of the sovereign people of Utah?
Yeah.
Who? And what evidence do you have?
What you do simply, and especially in little things like this, okay, little things like this where the prosecutor is so used to everybody walking into that courtroom and going, I'll plead out and I'll take the 20 hours of community service. They want it. Okay? What you have to become is that guy that the prosecutor, after the first, second, and third encounter, goes, all right, this isn't worth it. The risk is too much because we do not have a case. You know? And that's what you're going to find out. They're not used to people walking in there and do it, because most people are programmed to believe when they walk in that courtroom, they're already afraid anyway. And it's from a lack of knowledge in the first place, because when you walk in and you have knowledge, guess what? All the veil falls away. But this is the first stage in bringing it back, because, again, I'm just going to simplify it.
Okay.
They haven't had enough risk, and they've got too much reward.
Yeah, and that's it, and it's like we've been talking about, so this has been our mission, right? Justice from the very beginning is to educate as many people as possible, because, I'm only one man, Brandon's only one man, Erica's only one woman, and Justice is only one woman. There's only four of us. So
are you sure about that, James?
Well, I don't know. These days you could be 15 women. Who knows? But or you could be 15 furries. I don't even know what that is.
So I have one more question before you.
All right, go ahead.
What does this administrative court have jurisdiction over, or is that too long of an answer? So could you provide a list for people on Telegram of what an administrative court has jurisdiction over and what
basically the simplest answer is this: the administrative court only has jurisdiction over public servants.
So the cop.
Correct. So let me put it to you this way. Let's say I'm working for the Parks and Recs department, and I go out and I beat the crap out of another employee. They can prosecute me in an administrative court, and it would be binding because, well, I work for the city. I'm a city employee. It's no different than if this up here was to say the corporation of Walmart or McDonald's or name any other business. It's no different. So the way that this and you guys, you got to take your hat off to these people. I mean, they are evil geniuses that came up with this plan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, go back to the 1875, 1876 when they formed the Bar Association. These guys knew what they were doing. They're like, hey, we can make a buttload of money. We can do it under the color of law, and we can make it look as though this is legit.
Yep.
Because the people don't know any better.
Evil is the absolute word.
We'll just read a couple definitions from the Louisiana Administrative Procedure Act. Okay, it's Section 950.
Okay.
And just for people to get this. Now, number 2 is agency. Means each state board that goes on down through Article 6, 44. Party means each person or agency named or admitted as a party or properly seeking and entitled as of a right to be admitted as a party. Number 5, person means any individual, partnership, corporation, association, governmental subdivision, or public or private organization of any character other than an agency, except that an agency is a person for the purpose of appealing an administrative ruling. Rule means each agency statement. Then you just keep on going down. Rulemaking. This is administrative procedure.
I'm going to pause right there because that's the key thing to figure out, right? How are you a person? Because there's a couple different definitions of persons. So, under what he is talking about is the agency person, right? I'm a man, but when I work for Walmart, I waived my man and turned into a person. I'm a man. If I become a officer or agency to the city, county, state, or for me, state of Texas, right? I am no longer a man. I am a person. Okay? You're in some type of contract agreement. Okay? Now, when you go home, that can be transferred from person back to man. When you're off duty, it can be transferred property. So you can in and out of man to person. It just depends on the time and day and particular place, time to challenge that person.
So each the state, when you go and get a license and the Secretary of State signs it and grants you the ability to get involved in intrastate and interstate commerce, you are now bound by the rules of the administration in that that's what it is. Okay.
Are you talking about any business or as a?
Yeah. Well, see, he who creates controls.
Yep.
Although you ask the state for your LLC or whatever, when they sign it into existence, the state created it, right?
Yep. You're operated under their laws. Yes, you're created under their laws. Yes,
you're created under their laws. That's why you got to go hang your little certificate of authentication or whatever else it is, right? So when they come up with this, and so people can just understand this. This is regulatory schemes. So in order for the regulatory scheme to work and for the administrative side of law to push into every facet of life, you'll see that the time that they started coming out with this was also about the 50s and 60s when education took a nosedive.
Yep.
Right? So it's a direct correlation, right?
Yeah.
You can see it. Now people can't even read and write. Well, guess what? If you can't read and write, there's an 18th Scottish poet who stated that if you want to enlighten yourself, learn the English language, and it's one of the greatest detriments to reading law, interpreting law, and then even reading things simple as your Bible. Because there's rules of grammar throughout that even only people the highest English professors in the United States right now don't know a simple rule such as the gender neutral rule, and it's crazy to me because it's been part of our jurisprudence for 500 years that when you see the word man, the pronoun man, it includes what?
Woman.
It includes woman. Always
Yep.
has.
Yep.
It always has. This is a rule of interpretation. When you see woman, it includes what?
Man.
Yep.
These
So
simple
both ways.
So why is these English professors out here talking about non-binary pronouns? Because they don't know. Even higher learning has lost it. So you don't even. Yeah. But anyway, that's a tangent to get off on. But again, go read your Administrative Procedure Act.
Yep.
You'll find that your local court rules are running out of statute. That's why it even say like your city rules, right? You have to go to the city's website or to the courthouse and ask for their rules, and you'll see they don't include constitutional provisions.
Yeah, it's disgusting, and to Brandon's point, he says, about 1950s, 1960s when education took a nosedive in this country. I was reading something about, gosh, why can I never remember the guy's name? The Frenchman who came here, Brandon, help me out. It was like in
1830. de Tocqueville.
Yes. He said in his memoir, it was like 1830, 1840, right? And he was just spent 4 or 5 months walking around here talking with Americans, and he said it was hard pressed to find anyone off the street who didn't know the Constitution and didn't know the rights that were protected by it. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, you can't find anybody. I was having a discussion earlier today with someone who said that there's somebody who's up for a federal judgeship who doesn't even know what the Fifth freaking Amendment is.
Well, it's not. No, yeah, that's right. And Senator Kennedy asked her yesterday what was the definition of what is called purposivism, right? Mm-hmm. Which if you don't know what purposivism is, you need to go look it up. This is where judicial activism comes from, and this is the side where whatever I believe these letters mean, and so you have two different ideas. The scriptures, when we read the Bible, we're talking about the Spirit.
Okay, we're gonna cut it off there because minutes has gone by, right? But that was really what they're saying is you're part of a corporation. So when you want a case dismissed or anything like property tax or any criminal case and all that kind of stuff, right? You got to figure out that they are saying you are some type of government employee, right? Somewhere they're saying, all right? And the code of statutes, rules, and regulations apply to you because you stay in silence, acquiescence, and tacit agree to their terms that you are a government employee of or any other employee. But me walking down the street without being in any type of business, I'm just a man, no more, no less, right? But if a cop pulls, stops and picks me up and just starts harassing me, right? That's because he's under the impression, whether he believes it or not, that I am some type of employee, whether it's government or some type of private business, okay? That I'm not a man, I'm a person. And this is how they can do as they wish upon you, because our silence, acquiescence, and tacit agreeing to that officer's terms. All right, this is We the People News. Bye, y'all.